Hi everyone, welcome to the community classroom. This is Dr. Tracey McCarthy, psychologist, attorney, and educator, and we are coming to share the voting edition. And we are presenting for you 3 voting strategies for thinking about voting and approaching the task of voting if you are voting and have not made your decisions. And so one of the things that happens that people need to be mindful of is that people often vote based upon emotions. People often vote based upon past practices. It's just convenient. That's what they've done in the past. And sometimes people go to the polls with no voting strategy whatsoever. So we're going to share 3 issues, the 3 issues voting strategy. And so what may be helpful to many people is to pick your issues. What are your issues? What are the things that are important to you? Many people have not actually figured that out. You know, what are the bottom line important issues that are on your plate that you believe will impact your life? And so we're going to talk about that. And once you pick those 3 issues, you can figure out where the candidates stand on those issues, and not only where they stand, but what has been their pattern and practice, because the best indicator of future behavior is past behavior. You pretty much know, and you know this in life, you pretty much know how people are going to behave in the future based upon how they behaved in the past. So however they voted in the past, however they've acted in the past, you know, whatever legislation they advanced, you pretty much know that they're probably not going to change. And so let's get on with this. Now, you can use this for any office. We're just going to look at the federal legislators for this rule of 3. And so 3 areas that you might consider focusing on are demographic action record, First and Second Amendment positions, immigration and border security, because these are some of the major issues that have been thrust into the public space. And so let's look at the demographic action record. One of the things you might want to look at is understanding your own ethnicity, whatever that is. And I'm not talking about race, I'm talking about your ethnicity. And you know, your cultural background, which may be tied to your understanding of race, but it's very specific. Okay, so it's tied to your nationality, it's tied to your culture, it's tied to your spiritual traditions, it's tied to all of that. Your value system. Okay, so identify your ethnicity and ask yourself, what is this person's position in terms of advancing the needs of my ethnic group? And it doesn't matter what your ethnic group is, you just ask that question. You know, what have they done in the past? What are they planning to do in the future? Have they even mentioned you in the campaign? That's a big one. The other thing is sex and gender. Sex and gender is very important. What is the candidate's position on issues that are important to you in terms of your sex or your gender? And this could be male or female. It doesn't matter. It's just, what have their positions been related to you? What are their expectations in the future? What do they see happening in the future? What are your expectations for the future? And where are they in terms of lining up with your expectations for the future? Now, if you are a person who identifies as African American, or you are a person who identifies as Brown American, Indigenous American, you might want to start asking the question about where are they on the issue of reparations? Where are they in terms of restorative justice? If a person from Congressional Black Caucus is a person who is on the ballot and you're voting for them, you can look at their record and see how have they been on this issue? Have they been advancing reparations? Have they even been talking about it? Is it a consideration for them? And you can make some decisions based upon that. Also, your socioeconomic status, that's SES. How have these individuals been voting in terms of issues that relate specifically to your socioeconomic status? And so those are some things that you might want to look at. Again, past performance is going to dictate future performance 9 times out of 10. Okay, so in our second column, we have First and Second Amendment. These are the big ones. And so, you know, what are your positions in terms of freedom of religion, freedom of speech, freedom of press, freedom of assembly, petition? Where are you on those issues? Are those things important to you? I mean, for some people, freedom of religion is not a big issue. For some people, freedom of speech is not a big issue. So ask yourself, where are you and what are your expectations in terms of a candidate? Those are big issues. And you can also look at that also for your governors also. Okay, and so the other one in that category would be the right to bear arms. It's a big issue. The issue of gun control, the issue of right to bear arms. Where do you stand on it? What's important to you? Once you figure out what's important to you, you can look at the candidate, see which one is moving in your direction or who has moved in your direction, and you can go in that direction too. All right, the other issue is immigration and border security. This is another big one. And you ask yourself, and this often is tied to your ethnicity too. It's tied to your ethnicity and your status, your immigration status, your citizenship status, and your SES. And so your ethnicity will perhaps determine the importance of issues related to immigration. What does immigration mean for you, for your ethnicity? What does immigration mean for you in terms of your own status? What does immigration mean for you in terms of your socioeconomic status? And it's going to be different based upon whether or not you're low SES, middle SES, or upper SES. And so it's going to mean something different for each group of people. And so you can look at these issues and figure out, what's important to you. There are many other issues out there, but these are the big ones that people have been talking about. And so if you can figure out where you are on some of these issues, it might make it easier for you to figure out who is moving in a direction that is similar to your direction, similar to your best interest. Okay, and here's some things to look out for. When you're looking at the candidates, have they been lukewarm on any issues? If candidates are lukewarm on issues, that really means that they haven't committed to something, and they're a wild card. You don't know what they're going to do when they get in office, particularly if they haven't been in office before, so you don't really have a pattern in practice to base your decisions on. But if they're lukewarm and they're really not touching certain issues, that's a red flag. Okay. Have they been doing emotion-focused campaigning? Have they been tugging at your heartstrings versus, really addressing your mind? Is your vote assumed? Are they assuming that you're going to vote in one direction or another? And what happens with this is that you will usually be forgotten. And so if you've been ignored by a candidate, it's pretty certain that if they're ignoring you during the campaign, they're probably going to ignore you afterwards. If they haven't mentioned you or whatever your demographic group is or whatever your interests are. And so it could be your issues. And if they haven't mentioned those issues or they haven't taken a stance on those issues, it's possible that they're going to be lukewarm thereafter. Another question is, what has this person done or this party done for you lately? What are they doing based upon your issues, those 3 issues? Where are they on those things and where have they been lately? And so hopefully this helps you to kind of narrow some things down, to keep yourself focused, get out of your emotions, the tugging of the heartstrings, and really focus on the issues, because oftentimes people really kind of get caught up in things that have really nothing to do with the work that the people who are campaigning, the work that they're going to ultimately do. And so how they look and how they present and how they might remind you of a long lost cousin or something like that really doesn't matter when it comes down to where they're going to stand on the issues and what direction they're going to go in terms of your interest and your needs. Remember, knowledge is power. Take care and see you soon.